such a joy to be here. Indeed, this is the day that the Lord has made, that we may be glad and rejoice in it. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you that have been on this journey, have been taking this journey with me. It's such an honor, it's such a privilege, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for the support, and I know that together we are healing on this journey. Now today I'm so glad to be hanging around with a lady who is among the best. I know that she's among the best. We've just cooled some exercise, and just as we let the air out, I'm hanging out with a lady that we will get to know around. It's fun to hang around with her, and we will get to know her better. We will get to hear her. We will get to get in touch with her. And I want to take this opportunity to invite you, to welcome you, Rosie,
Thank you.
on Inner Size as you exercise. It's such an honor and a privilege to have you. So karibu sana. Do I call it the bench? Karibu sana on the bench. You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chico. Yeah, call it the bench. The sweaty bench.
How does it feel to exercise in the hot weather of Mombasa?
Well, thank God today is quite cool. And did some stuff that I didn't anticipate, but it feels great. Definitely feels great.
Wow.
Something I should do more often.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rosie. Maybe we should go direct to our interview, and I know that our viewers are eager, waiting to hear what we have in store for them. Now, I brought you on board because of some of the things that have been happening, and the fact that you are, I don't want to preempt what you'll want to tell us. The fact that you're a professional in the field of psychology, that's why I basically brought you on the bench. So maybe we can start by telling us, who is Rosemary? I'm used to calling you Rosie, so you can tell us, who is Rosie as I call you? Who is Rosie?
Yeah. Anyone who's a good friend calls me Rosie, so that's okay. That's okay. And since you're my big sister, little sister in many ways, that's okay. So who is Rosie? I would say many things about Rosie. Rosemary is one, a teacher, a trainer, a facilitator, and a certified therapist. That's what I would say about Rosie. Rosie is a mother of two young adults, male adults. She's a wife to one Sam Omolle. Rosie is also a very passionate person about relationships.
Wow.
I sense energies very easily in a room, and I love just seeing how relationships work wherever people are. I love being around friends.
Wow.
That's Rosie. I am also very creative, I would say, in things that work around poetry, spoken word. I love music. My feet tap very easily to music. And I have a keen ear just for music. Yes.
Thank you so much, Rosie. And you know, I think we rhyme in so many things. That's why maybe we connect. And when you say that you are into relationships,
yes,
I think you were the right person for this, because basically I wanted us to talk about what has been happening. And maybe to bring the viewer into what has been happening, what has been the talk of the town, the nations, because this has caught us. I don't know whether this was an eye-opener, or maybe it was something that was just brewing, waiting for its time to come up. Now, in the wake of what has been happening, and basically talking about domestic violence and abuse, we've seen what happened to the Nigerian music minister that apparently was killed. We are saying was killed because that is what we have as it is now, that she was killed. Now, unfortunately, so many details are coming up after she's died. And even in the past, so many details have come up when the victims have died, when they are 6 feet under. Now, what is your take on all this?
My take is usually when something like this happens, for me, I tune in. It's very easy for people to look at what's going on in somebody's maybe marriage and whatever they're going through. And it's so easy to step out of what you're going through to now cast aspersions on other people's issues. But for me, I take that chance to look in and say, what's going on there? What went on there? It may have been, and you know, it's alleged to have been, you know, death by a spouse, and we don't know yet until it is confirmed. But I look at so many things that could have happened, and especially if it were my own marriage, in what ways would I say something like that is similar to what's going on in mine? So why would I want to divert what's going on around mine and focus on what has happened to somebody else? So I take that chance to sit back and say, it's so much easier to throw all that dust somewhere else. But what's going on in yours and with the people that you know? I would say that unfortunately, for very clients clients that I've seen, if they are from within church, a lot of things are shrouded in fear, in privacy, and it's not so easy for people to talk out.
Wow.
Unlike the ones I see who are what we would say from the secular world, they are very easy to talk about what's going on in their marriage. And so I would ask, what is it that is not being said to us as Christians to be very open about things that are happening and hurting us?
Wow.
What is it about the people who are in the world that makes it so easy for them to talk? I know that sometimes talk can happen and people shout out, you know, in fact, on their rooftops about things that are very small that can be sorted out. But in many cases, you'll find that a lot happens within our houses, but I will raise my hands in church and sing my hallelujah and wear my smile, and I'm crashing inside. What is it that is not making us talk about stuff?
Wow.
I liked the preaching that the Sunday preaching at Praise Chapel by Bishop T. Nalo. I caught something that he said, that when Jesus was going through his darkest moment, that hour, when he knew the suffering was about to come, he had friends.
And he
reached out and told them, this is what is about to happen. And I think the Savior has always set examples for us to follow. If he had friends, where are we with these friends? And how true are our friends? Because by the time I'm keeping quiet about an issue, it means I do not trust anyone with this stuff. I internalize it, and I'm not able to speak up even when I'm crashing, because I don't want my friends to spoil this bubble, get to see this bubble that's crashing.
Wow.
And I'm still going to repeat this. It is more so in church. Where are we not getting it right to speak up and save our marriages?
Wow. Do you know, it saddens me to hear this now. Now talking to me as a fellow psychologist and a pastor's wife, now I'm thinking, what is it that we are not telling people? What is it that probably we could also be going through? That's why we are like, if I tell people, if I speak about these issues, could I be speaking about my own issues? Could I be publicizing what I am going through? Wow, that's such an eye-opener. Thank you so much, Rosie. Now, there has been a lot of blame game in what has been happening. And some people have said that maybe the clergy is to blame, maybe this person is to blame, the family is to blame, and so many things have come up. Now, and I've been thinking, there's so many, I meet clients also who tell me that I'm in an abusive relationship, Yet when you tell them, you know, as a counselor, you're not supposed to tell them to get out. It is not in your jurisdiction to tell them to get out. Now you ask them, why is it that you're still staying in that marriage? Now, do you see a future? They tell you for sure there's no future, but they still want to, I don't know whether to be caged in that relationship. They still want to stay inside. Maybe from a psychological psychological point of view, what would make a victim of abuse stay in their abuse, stay in their comfort zone, in their cocoon? You've already said that we rarely talk about issues. So what is it that could make someone that is a victim of abuse to stick therein?
Like you said, there's a lot of blame game. And there's been a lot of heat that has been passed on to the clergy. And sometimes I wonder how the clergy comes in and would get to know the homes of the whole congregation. When he stands up there to preach, he preaches what he ought to preach. And so I think when we are taking that, that's escapist to me. They may know, they may give what advice they know from the level that they know how to deal with couples. But I would say that the reason why one would then find themselves in this situation is probably socialization. When you look at many marriages, and especially from the African setup, other than recently where people have been easily walking out of their marriages when things are hard, it's been you stay in there, you are there for the long haul, and you're not going to step out no matter the circumstances. And so you find that I was socialized, you were socialized, hang in there. The guy is going to change. So hang in there until something happens, until you get your rhythm.
Mwanamke ni kuvumilia.
That's it.
That's the true mark of a woman.
Exactly. And I know that even from before, you know, the many years past, people would say when this man doesn't hit you, he doesn't love you. Those were the kind of things that people believed in then. So you don't know how much of that was passed on. Two, it's a matter of looking at, will I look like a failure? If I walk out of this, am I a failure? Will I be rejected by society if I step out and now have to meet other people? Will I be looked at suspiciously that now that you're not married, what are you up to? Who do you want to steal around here?
You want to be the next homewrecker.
That's it. Sometimes you're saying, I'm there for the kids. And yet, if you really step into the shoes of these children who have to see all these things that their parents are going on about, we do not know the psychological impact on these very children. Sometimes you don't know whether it's better off for them when the parents are apart. But you'll always say, I'm here for the kids. Sometimes it's about the name, the title, going missing from your title, that the Mrs. suddenly goes back to Miss.
Wow.
And so there are things that you say, how do I walk out? I'm so, so a part of this thing that coming out of it would shatter what I am used to. So you find a lot of people hanging on into nothingness, into pain, into a lot of bitterness, into a lot of abuse, and keep hoping that this thing will change. So it comes from that place, if you ask me. It comes from a place of fear, of the unknown away from this marriage, despite it harming you and harming the rest who have to witness what's going on. And that's the truth of what happens in those homes.
Wow. Now, when you say that it's coming from a point of fear, I quite understand you, because what normally happens is that the victim of abuse has basically built an empire. They've basically built their lives around their abusers. So they do not know how to walk out of this. Now, it's important for you, our viewer, to note that we are not telling people to come out of their marriages. That's not what we are here for. If anything, we are saying, can we be realistic? Can we go out there and talk to people? Because for me to know that you're going through an issue, you have to tell me. For you to know that I'm going through an issue, you have to let me know.
Yeah.
Now, it's important. Now, that's why they are therapists. That's why they are specialists in all this, to get to know, to reach out to them so that they can know what you're going through. It's very important. Now, Rosie, let me ask you. You were saying that, and we've said that there has been a lot of blame game. Now, in all this, I know there is the place of the abused person to take the first action, to first realize, because it doesn't happen within a day. The empire doesn't crash within a day. But now help us understand from a psychological point of view, what could be going through the mind of the abuser as they do all this repeatedly, because it's usually a cycle. It's not usually a one-day event.
Very true. And that's true. Now, there's a lot of research that has been done on especially the woman who is considered to be the abused. And let's be honest that there are also men who are being abused.
Exactly.
But more research has been done on the woman who is being abused. And very little research has been collected about the male abuser, the batterer, if we shall call him that. And this batterer has a place he's come from. He's come from his childhood days. And what happened in his childhood days would probably impact on the kind of person he turns out to be. Was he a child who would easily become very abusive at home towards his siblings and the neighbors, to the animals that were in that home? You know, those are indicators how they handle that. Was it something that they saw, they were modeled, that was modeled around them? And so they picked it, a sense of power. When I exert myself and I see that, and I get that release. However, a lot is being said about that batterer, that when questioned, they actually lose themselves in the moment of that battering. It's like the male man becomes the batterer and a demon in him. Because when he has got the release, and it's like comes back to being that male man, they are not so sure what happened there. So there's like a disconnect between that person that they know. Remember when these two met, they probably didn't meet in a place where there was battering. This person must have come out as a very loving person and very friendly and warm. But then you start seeing tidbits of manipulative character. You start seeing my way or the highway. You start seeing tendencies of someone stalking you all the time, checking on you, and you do not question them. And then it gets to the point of battering. It could be physical. It could be emotional. Whichever angle that they take, it's a way of making sure that the partner is put down no matter what. So this person could be going through that rage, and when they're in that state of being in that rage, they lose it. They are not even conscious of what they're doing until they get the release. And like you said, it becomes a cycle because that release is what they want. So they want to keep going back there, so that when that power is exerted and the battering happens and they get that release, then I want to get it. That's why it's addictive.
Wow.
And so there are people who probably have maybe some certain disorders. Probably they have certain disorders. They could be having borderline personality disorders. They could be narcissistic, you know. And maybe that can only be determined when an assessment is done. And that's why it's important for a couple to want to say, we need to be helped. I do believe that if they are sincere in their hearts and say, I lose myself and I want to be helped, they can be helped. What matches the percentage of those who turn back and become, you know, just relieved from that, and I think it's only Jesus who can intervene. They still hope that so long as they reach out, there's a chance that that might be sorted out, especially if one can determine whether it's a personality disorder at play. So there's a lot that comes out, that rage, and the person who loses himself in the process.
Wow. You know, when you're saying that it's an emotional release, and you get some relief after doing it. Now I'm thinking those who've used drugs before, or even the painkillers,
Yes.
how it feels, the relief you get from it. Now if you get your release from battering, from abuse, now you'll always want to go back again and again and again.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a call for, I'm thinking that's right there is to tell us that we need to keep an assessment. Number one, on ourselves. We need to do a self-assessment test on ourselves. Then take yourself to a therapist, because it is only you who can determine that I need help. I need to be helped. It is either you help me or it is done. Now, thank you so much, Rosie. I want to shift gears a bit, but still on the same. And I want to ask about something that we've seen in the recent past. Something that has gotten me, and I know so many people concerned, about our celebrities, our public figures. Now, they are in the habit of what we've come to know or to call clout chasing. All for the sake of likes and following and what have you. Now they would fake any manner of story just to remain relevant. Only for them to pull a song, only for them to pull something, and we are into it, we are following, we are searching for them everywhere. Then we hear that this was just clout chasing. Now, could this be a cry for help, but they do not know how to do it better?
A cry for help.
Maybe they could be going through issues in their personal lives, in their marriages, but they do not know how to put it better. Maybe because we put them up there, we put them on such a high pedestal, they do not know how to be failures, they do not know how to cry out publicly.
Okay. That could be the case. It could be a cry for help. It could be true. But then why with the likes? You know, and the truth is, with this, the current generation, let's talk about the millennials, and you'll find a lot of the people you're talking about fall in that category, 1985 and above. And you find that it's a generation that gadgets became their friends.
Wow.
The lack of availability of their parents, who were too busy trying to get them this pampered life and all the gadgets they needed. You get what I'm saying? So when they want to release, when they want to have a form of who likes me, where do they turn to? The very gadgets. And so it's from these gadgets, it doesn't matter who likes me, but I have 365 likes. In just 30 minutes of sending this, woo, that's a celebration. Whether they're people who truly they know or not, that doesn't matter. But I can celebrate that somebody liked it. It pushes up some chemical within them to celebrate. And that gives them an up. Now, that does not resolve the many questions that they have within them. Because the way we were wired, we are relational beings. And even if I get the likes, but I'm not having someone to sort out what's going on within me, at one point the body will give. The system will give. And so that's why you're asking, is it a cry for help? When affirmation is not done, especially in the formative years, when we are growing up, and there's no affirmation, we are going to look for it everywhere. And when no one is giving it to us, we get to a point of feeling rejected, depressed. We feel, who cares? And even when every other person tells you, I have 3,000 likes, I have 1,000 likes, oh, this, I didn't see that coming. But there's that still something that still unresolved. How about the people who I consider my support system? Do they really care? Are they really feeling it? I'm trying to see whether they like what I have done.
I love the fact that you're saying that validation and affirmation is very important, more so in our formative years. And I love the way you brought it, that if we are not affirming our children or validating them in the house, they will definitely get their approval elsewhere. Now, let me take you to another direction. You mentioned that you're a psychologist, you are a therapist. And for some reason, I've been feeling that in the days and in the years that we are living in, probably counseling or therapy should be put in as part of essential services. Now, tell us, what is the whole essence of therapy and psychology? Why should I come and seek help? Because people would rather do anything else than spend my money. You know, that's how people say, why should I spend money to come and talk to someone?
And that's so unfortunate, and it's the truth. I know that a number of people who've walked into my practice and not ask, like, what's the fee? And just come and after they've talked and say, oh, I feel the relief. Then when you tell them this is the charge, they're like, really?
For just talking?
And so it is a lot of misconception about what therapy is about, and maybe we need to be more out there to explain. A lot of psychoeducation, a lot of just letting people know what this is about. Those who have come and learned the importance keep coming because they have seen the value. But you must understand where we come from. And like I said, a lot of things are kept intact, and it's wrong to talk about things. And a lot of times you find people do not even know the difference between a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and all of this is muddled together. And the worst thing is that they'll say, you know, I'm not mad, you know, to be going to see this person. You'll even find people who will not want to be seen during the day. They will ask, can I come in the evening? You know, that to them is when a lot of other people are not around. And so there's that fear of being seen, even going for therapy. So it is true. Yet therapy, these are skilled, knowledgeable people who have learned many approaches. They will do the assessment. They will work with you. They will set up their goals with you. The treatment plan that they put forward is something to help you get to a place where you can say, I have moved from this place to that place. And so the misconception of we just sit and talk, for those who do not try it, then they say, I can as well just talk to maybe somebody maybe in the neighborhood or my grandmother.
Or even put it on Facebook.
Exactly. And when a few people say, oh yes, I feel it, I know, I've been there. And so you say, oh, so there's a big crowd, so we are all the same. But does that sort out your problem? You see, that's the problem that I feel has been ongoing. And it comes from many places. Sometimes I might as well say this, the bashing can also come from some quarters. It could even come from the church that might say, sort out yourself, believe and pray, which is true. Which is true. Prayer works. And there are psychologists who work through with their clients using the biblical principles. That helps. But sometimes you need someone to help you see things from a certain perspective. They pull it out of you. And when they come and walk in and say, I've come for advice, and you tell them, we don't do advice giving. All the answers are inside of you. I am here to help you walk that path. And when they get that sense of power back in them, then they realize, wow, this was helpful. And that makes them now know how to deal with certain situations that crop up. So it's a lot of mystery that and a lot of misconception about therapy. And unfortunately, it's also because there are people who call themselves therapists. You know, they are not qualified. They do a 2-week course somewhere, a 6-month course, and they say, I'm now a counselor. Yes. And I'm happy that a few things are being done in Parliament. And we are hoping that these things will clean out and clean up anything to do with the psychologists and what we do out there, so that eventually people will know, now this is when you say you've gone for therapy. And when you have someone who sits there and tells you that they are counseling you and they're probably harming you, and therefore you don't want to ever go back there, it means then you knocked on the wrong door. So a lot of that has not yet come out clearly, the way it has in the West. But I also want to say that by and by, we are getting there. In Mombasa, it wasn't very easy. I know that I've been out there from, probably I would say, put our practice together from 2014. It's very different now. It's very different now in the way people will call and be willing to share their issues as compared to then. So we are getting there.
Wow. I'm happy to hear that when we are telling people to seek therapy, we are not only telling them to go and speak and fabble and just let it out. We are helping people just get to look at things objectively and reminding them that at the end of the day, the solution is within you.
Exactly.
Now, Rosie, inner size as you exercise helps us to look within. Even as we exercise the many, many responsibilities that God has given us. Now, all of us are coming from somewhere. Looking back, what is the advice that you would give to the younger version of Rosie?
Wow.
That is quite home, that is quite personal.
What is the advice? First of all, maybe I would say, Rosie, if I'm looking at Rosie, the younger Rosie, I would say, we made it. First thing.
Wow.
But I would also say, perhaps when I look back, I think that's what you want me to do. When I look back, there are a lot of things that would come to my mind that I need to do, and I would hold back. I said I'm creative, and my creativity would even come out in the way I design clothes. And I would see certain things that crossed my mind appear 9 years later, 10 years later, I see someone else has picked it. And I would say, this idea crossed my mind a long time ago, but I never stepped out. So I would talk to that Rosie, like, go with your instinct. Whatever that is, run with it. Don't hold back. That Rosie may have been so unsure about many things. Maybe that's a story for another day. But of course, with age, there's a boldness that comes. But that is what I would tell the younger Rosie. Step out more. Go with your instinct. Go out and conquer. Yes.
Conquer the giant within. Conquer yourself.
Exactly.
And you know, that is basically what inner size as you exercise is all about.
Yes.
That we are looking beyond the odds that have been against us. That we are not staying in the dust that we've been on for so long. That we are ready to rise up and go for our goals, because most of us are go-getters. But now the confidence to wake up, we can make up, but the confidence to go for whatever we want is what most of us are lacking. Now we're almost coming to the end of it, and I must say I've enjoyed. You have such a wealth of experience. I'm learning, by the way. When you see me shaking my head, when you see me nodding, I'm learning a lot. And I know my viewers are learning a lot. Now, what would be your parting shot, Rosie?
My parting shot is, let's talk to heal. Let's talk. If we are able to reach out and talk to heal, let's look for our friends. When they are missing from church, when they are missing from, you've not heard from a friend, and that friend crosses your mind, please reach out. There are a lot of people hurting. There are a lot of people doing disastrous things because no one is reaching out. Let us be each other's keeper. That's my parting shot.
Wow. Yani, the way you gave a parting shot, I really enjoyed it. And you're giving it in, you're detailed. I love the fact that you're detailed. I love the fact that you're composed. I really enjoyed this. And I must say a big thank you to you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know I got time out of your busy schedule. If you were to charge me, my friend, I would have to sell something. If you were to charge me for the time we've spent here, I know I conned you
on the hot bench. You're going to pay for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you so much for being such a blessing. Now, a big thank you to our producers. We have Pastor Elijah. We have Dan Kadenge. We have Gitonga. Gitonga is telling me that they will start cloud chasing very soon. Thank you so much, our producers. We really, really appreciate. And I thank even our gym instructor, Monique Shem. We are so grateful for just allowing us to be, you know, just allowing us to sweat, to just not cooperate sometimes. We are so grateful. And to the whole of Faiz Gymkhana, we really appreciate. Thank you for allowing us to do this interview. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for allowing us to move your things up and down. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. Now, Rosie, if someone wanted to reach out to you, where can they get you? Where are you at? Should they come to where you practice? Do you have a phone contact that you want them to get you through? Where can they get you?
Yes, they can get us at Eden Parlor, which is in Tudor, behind Nyumba ya Wazee. That's where we are located. That is Africa to Live. That
Africa
to live, a calm Africa. That is our agenda. Wow. And our mantra is to encourage, to enlighten, to enrich. That is what we purpose to do.
Wow.
And that is where they can find us. If they type the same, just Africa to Live, they'll probably go to our website and find us there. I guess that's where they can find us. All our details, whether it's Facebook, our telephone numbers, they're all found there. Yes.
So can someone reach out to you, and what number can they use?
The numbers, they will find them there on Facebook.
On Africa to Live?
Yes, Africa to Live. They will find them right there. Yes, the office numbers.
Thank you so much, Rosie.
Thank you too for having us.
I cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you so much, our viewers. It's been such an honor. It's been such a privilege. The Lord bless you so much. And we'll be building more on this. We'll be having Rosie more often. Yes, that's not even a threat. It's a deal. It's a promise. I'm promising my viewers, so aweze niruka. I'm promising my viewers, so you better be ready for this. And I hope and I pray that this is getting us to think and look within and even get to talk so that we can heal.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's all the time that we had from the hot bench. I've been told to call it the hot bench. That's all the time that we had. We really appreciate so much. God bless you. See you on the next video. Keep subscribing. Keep following us for more of this. Shalom, shalom, and God bless you.